Welcome YouTubers, that was a condensed version of Matchbox by Carl Perkins. Carl Perkins actually challenged Jerry Lee Lewis to a fight not long after Jerry Lee Lewis came along. You can imagine Jerry Lee Lewis's attitude didn't rub everyone up the right way, let's just put it that way. Today is not actually going to be the lesson on this song. I'm just going to be looking at 5 things that I think make Carl Perkins' lead guitar playing particularly special, and I'm going to be using the Matchbox guitar solo to work off. If you do want to learn the song, I'm going to release a Soundslice to my Patreon where you've got the scrolling tabs which you can slow down. You'll be able to see my fingers and you'll be able to see the tab moving along in correlation. It's a really fantastic feature, but if you're not a member of the Patreon, okay, and you don't want to join, I'm going to teach you how to play the whole song in an upcoming video anyhow. So stay tuned for that. Just make sure you hit like, subscribe, share the video, help me out a little bit. And by the way, if you happen to watch my videos, the longer you watch them, the more it lets YouTube know that it's a good video. So I don't want you to watch the whole video if you don't love it, but if you are inclined and you are interested, take a seat, sit back, let it roll to the end. That's going to help me out a lot as well. Okay, so number 5, I'm going to work from 5 down. Not that it's necessarily like a, one thing's more important than the other, but number 5 is the rhythmic placement that Carl Perkins often uses was very clever. So if we look at the Matchbox solo, almost straight away we get this really clever thing. Now it doesn't seem like a big deal. Okay, what's the big deal, Adrian? They're just double stops. But here's the crazy thing, if you listen to the drum roll in that original recording, 1, 2, 3, okay, he's actually playing those notes on the second beat and the third beat of the bar, so we get that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now, that probably doesn't seem like a big deal to you, but to me, I think that's really brilliant. I mean, we naturally want to play things on the 1, 2, 3, 4, or maybe even 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Maybe sometimes we want to anticipate the 1 and go 4, 1, which feels like it might have been what he was trying to do. But whatever's happened there, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So it's just unusual, and to me, it's really interesting, really cool, and just one of the things that makes Carl Perkins unique. He does that in his playing. He's got a real emphasis on certain little double stops that he does. He'll play them sort of offbeat a little bit. You hear that in the Dixie Fried solo. Yeah, there's a heap of great examples if you listen to his stuff, so check that out and keep an ear out for that. The second thing, I guess number 4, the way that he anticipates changes sometimes, and he did this in the Matchbox solo absolutely brilliantly. This is the sort of thing Charlie Christian was doing, and he was considered really ahead of his time. I guess he was around before Carl Perkins, but Carl Perkins wasn't a jazz player, yet he was still employing these really clever techniques. So if we think about what the chords are doing in Matchbox, it's obviously over an A chord, and that solo, that's all over A, but when it goes, okay, that note there, the F sharp, is the third of a D chord, and when he grabs that, it tells you that the D chord is coming. You can hear it, you can feel it, but doing it a beat before or 2 beats before the next chord is something that a lot of the really fancy jazz players were doing to create that little bit of anticipation. So we're on A. Oh, hang on. It's not till there, okay, that chord changes. So it's a good 2 beats early, yet because of the speed of the song, it works really nicely. So the way he's anticipated that chord change, really, really clever. Now the next one, I want to talk about the fact that he's used a chord tone there very deliberately. A lot of blues players, a lot of rock players nowadays even, they'll use that pentatonic scale. Okay, but what he's actually done by adjusting that one note is highlight the chord tone from the 4 chord, in this case the D. So we're in the key of A, B, C sharp, D. D's the 4 chord. D uses an F sharp in it as a chord, very strong note, very important note of that chord. He's made a little alteration. He's probably done that by ear. I don't know that he would have studied it. He talks extensively in an interview about hanging around with cotton pickers and African Americans back, in that period, and learning to play from them. So he was legit. He was authentic. He really, learnt that way. But that was something there that I reckon those guys would have been doing inherently. Don't get me wrong, but it's quite an intellectual thing either way to utilize. So very, very clever, his use of little chord tones, and again, he does that throughout his playing. He just alters that simple pentatonic scale to his needs. Really, really clever. Joe Bonamassa does it. So there's a modern example of a guy that does that. Does a lot of that kind of thing. Very subtle, very creative. And this is back in, the early 50s. So really, really cool. Number 2, his legato embellishments. It's almost Hendrix-ish the way later in the solo. So those little hammer-ons and the way he keeps returning to them, the flair in which he does them, it's a little bit Hendrix, a little bit ahead of his time, I think. And I know that guys like Muddy Waters, B.B. King, a lot of those guys would have been using those techniques. Buddy Guy, but if you look at a lot of the other rockabilly players at that time, they weren't quite doing it with that. I don't know, to me it's Hendrix-ish. That sort of rattlesnake thing. Reminds me a little bit of Richie Valens. Is it Richie Valens? Yes, yeah. So, yeah, really, really cool. That little bit of, again, just that legato embellishment. So, I thought that was a really cool thing in the Matchbox solo. And number 1, the final thing that I thought was really worth mentioning about his lead playing, and it's still a lead playing thing, even though you could consider it like an arrangement thing, but the way he does endings. Carl Perkins was never shy to use an ending that, as much as they became kind of cliche, he was, one of the originals. So, particularly his ending in Matchbox, and even that little chord there. Pretty sure that's the chord. I might have to go back and have a look, but that's 5, 6, 5, 7. That is an A9 chord, okay, just without sort of the bottom half. Really, really cool. And he used these endings in a lot of his songs. He would muck around with them a little bit, but generally he'd work off the third of whatever the main chord of the song is. So if it's A, he'd start on the C sharp, walk up chromatically, then from the E. Now that's like an old jazz ending or an old swing ending, but he made it rock and roll, and I can't say that he was the first to do it or one of the complete originators of it for that style, but he was definitely doing it, and it makes me think of Carl Perkins, so that's kind of got to go to him in some way as well. So there you go, guys. There's 5 things that I think make his playing special and unique. I hope you enjoyed that. Stick around my channel, obviously, like and hit subscribe and all those things. Hit the bell so you know I'm releasing stuff. For the actual lesson on Matchbox, I'll walk you through, and not only will I teach you how to play it, I'll give you some tips on how to use those concepts to make your own solo for the second solo. I never learnt the second solo. When we performed that song, I just rip up that same concepts, those ideas for the second solo and do whatever I like. It's kind of, a bit of fun. So I hope you enjoy that, guys. I will see you in those lessons. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. Love you. Bye.